as we bring to you the top business stories reported on Footprint Africa this week. But first, here are the headlines. AFDB Group and Jetro to sign MOU in infrastructure and private sector development. Export urges government to attract FDIs to grow agriculture. Facebook CEO visits Nigeria to interact with tech industry exponents. Zimbabwe's EcoCash maintains profitability, 70% market share. Wanze advocates reduction of Africa's $35 billion annual food import bill to create jobs. Elumelu tasks Nigeria's policymakers on poverty reduction. YACLIC partners VTI Direct to provide network operator service. Youth unemployment set to rise for first time in 3 years. Tanzania to enter 400 megawatts power purchase agreement with Chile. A total of 73 memorandums of understanding were signed to boost trade between the continent and Japan on the last day of 6th Tokyo International Conference on African Development meeting in Nairobi, Kenya. They include $10 billion for infrastructure projects to be executed through the African Development Bank and an additional $20 billion to be injected by private investors, including some of the MOUs. The MOUs will cover, among others, infrastructure, education, health, agriculture, ICT and mining sectors, and will be spread over the 3 years from 2016. Over to Ghana. Dr. John Gatsi, economist and lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, says the Ghana Investment Promotion Center needs to put in place mechanisms that will attract foreign direct investment into the agricultural sector to spread up economic growth. He lauded the 400% increment of foreign direct investment recorded during the second quarter of this year compared with the value recorded in the corresponding quarter of 2015. However, he adds that investment in the agricultural sector has not been encouraging enough. In tech news, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is in Nigeria this week on his first trip to Africa to interact with exponents of ICT and see firsthand the strides they are making. He is scheduled to visit Yaba Technology Hub in Lagos, meet with developers and partners, and explore Nollywood. Zuckerberg is in Nigeria to listen and learn and take ideas back to California on how Facebook can better support tech development and entrepreneurship across Africa. In the financial sector, Zimbabwe's mobile financial service platform EcoCash, powered by Econet Wireless, has sustained profitability and 70% of the mobile money market share despite economic headwinds. Econet Chief Executive Mr. Douglas Mboweni said that mobile money service laid the foundation for future growth in overlay services. According to the group's latest annual report, the mobile money platform's subscriber base has been growing, reaching 5.8 million subscribers, supported by over 21,000 agents countrywide. Now, in agricultural news, the $35 billion a year that Africa spends on importing food should be used to create local jobs in agriculture, according to Kaneo F. Wanze, president of the UN's International Fund for Agricultural Development. The potential for prosperity on the continent is enormous, but investment needs to be redirected to developing the agricultural sector. Although it has a quarter of the world's arable land, Africa generates only 10% of global agricultural output. Tony O. Elumelu, chairman of Hess Holdings and UBA PLC, has advocated entrepreneurship as a veritable solution to ridding Nigeria of poverty. Elumelu is also the founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Deliver the Paper Team, Entrepreneurship, Corporate Social Responsibility and Afro-Capitalism, the role of the private sector in fighting poverty in Nigeria. At the nation's think tank, the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies in Kuru, Plateau State. He expressed optimism that with right policy reforms, Nigeria could be well on its way to rising above its present challenges. In Angola, YACLIC, the Angolan broadband satellite solution provider for home and business, has announced its partnership with VTI Direct to provide virtual network operator services across YACLIC's existing footprint. Commenting on the introduction of the VNO service, David Murphy-Yakshat, Chief Commercial Officer, said this development allows service partners to gain access to high-speed and economical capacity over K-band while enjoying full control and management of their allotted capacity. With global youth unemployment expected to rise in 2016 for the first time in 3 years, and the equally disturbing high levels of young people who work but still live in poverty, the United Nations Labour Agency today called for greater efforts to achieve sustainable economic growth and decent work. Releasing its World Employment and Social Outlook 2016 trends for youth, the International Labour Organization estimated that the global youth unemployment rate is expected to reach 13.1% in 2016 and remain at that level through 2017. As a result, the number of unemployed youths is set to rise by 500,000 this year to reach 71 million, the first such increase in 3 years. And finally, in the power sector, Tanzanian authorities has recently said that the country will sign a 400 megawatts power purchase agreement with Ethiopia this week. Tochisi Mamba, Managing Director of state-owned Tanzania Electrical Supply Company, said the official signing of the Power Pact will be preceded by a meeting in Arusha of 10 member states of the Eastern Africa Power Pool. Countries forming the Eastern Africa Power Pool are Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, Ethiopia, Egypt, Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Tanzania. That wraps up this week's top stories. We'll be back with a recap of the headlines. AFDB Group and Jetro to sign MOU in infrastructure and private sector development. Export urges government to attract FDIs to grow agriculture. Facebook CEO visits Nigeria to interact with tech industry exponents. Zimbabwe's EcoCash maintains profitability, 70% market share. Wanze advocates reduction of Africa's $35 billion annual food import bill to create jobs. Elumelu tasks Nigeria's policymakers on poverty reduction. Yakli partners BTI Direct to provide network operator service. Youth unemployment set to rise for first time in 3 years. Tanzania to enter 400 megawatts power purchase agreement with Ethiopia. To keep up with the trending business news of the week, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and connect with us on LinkedIn. These news and reports are called from Footprint to Africa. For daily updates and more business news in Africa, visit www.footprinttoafrica.com today. Footprint to Africa, business news made in Africa by Africans.